Hey guys, welcome to the lab. We're back with some more exclusive content. Another episode of Sundaze with the Clink Room. Today we're joined by Leif. Leif, how are you?
Great, man. Thanks for having me.
Good. Wanted to get you in the lab for a while to kind of just, get to know you a little bit better on a more personal level. You've been doing this for a while now, so I believe we spoke a little bit about this off air. So you started working with the Clink Room around 2021-ish. You got about eight hats delivered, one in pre-order right now. So you've been doing this for a while. Let's kind of take it back. How did you kind of discover the Clink Room, and what made you want to get involved?
I think like everybody else, stumbled upon it on Instagram and just thought it was, coolest thing, an artist-driven, community-driven concept, and then a finished embroidered cap of the design by the end of it, and then seeing it from where it's come from there, just there's so many artists, so many really cool designs. It's amazing to be a part of it in any capacity.
Yeah, you have been really good at kind of telling different stories. So some of your designs come from the world of sports, others from like more mythical and storytelling, stuff like this, and space and stuff like that. Like what kind of inspires you in terms of like your design?
That's a good question. It is kind of all over the place, but I have a background in sports, and loved art and been a designer my whole life, and always want to try to find the medium. So it just comes with different concepts that might pop into my mind, or just out in nature. There's things that are a play on words or references from different sports. A baseball guy, so one of the submissions that sadly didn't get through, not yet, hopefully a rework of the Baltimore chop, convert that into like a logo concept. Maybe we'll rework that and see if resubmit that, but yeah, there's just there's so many great kind of builds off of some of the other Clink artists as well, and some of the play on word concepts that are out there. So
sure.
Definitely mind working for new ideas.
For sure. So you mentioned you're a sports guy. So you're out of California. Who are some of the teams you cheered for, and some of your favorite athletes growing up?
So it's funny. So I grew up in New England. So
okay.
Yeah, I moved out here about 20 years ago. So I root for the Giants and A's equally.
Okay.
But I'm a Red Sox guy. I'm a fan of the game overall. I root for good stories and root for different players, and if my team's on it, I try to pick a team just to kind of follow for support. But yeah, mostly Boston teams. So yeah. I know you're a Toronto guy.
I talked to Pierre about this. It's not much of a rivalry if you guys continue to kick our ass. So unfortunately we could not get it done in Game 7. I mean, I've seen that story before, so you can't hurt me any further because I'm kind of already dead inside. But yeah, just one of those things.
Really, I mean, there's so many good Canadian teams in there right now with Edmonton, Vancouver. Yeah. Now, how does that work? Is it Toronto versus everybody, or you're like, I'm kind of pulling for Vancouver, Edmonton? Where are you at?
Well, when we're in it, it's Toronto versus everyone, and then when we're out, then I'll be like, all right, cool. Who's not Ottawa, and then who's not Montreal, and then yeah, like whoever makes it. Like I would love to see a Canadian team, because it's been almost 30 years now since the Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup, which is ridiculous. So yeah, Vancouver, Edmonton can get it done.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it, but right now it's kind of it's golf season. So
yeah,
I'm not. It's just one of those things.
NHL playoffs is a grind. It's it's not always the best team that gets in. It's can't explain it.
Yeah, we can't either. We haven't figured it out, but we'll be back next year. Less enthusiasm, but it's just they got to show me something. But
good core. They'll be back.
Yeah, hope so. But in terms of your creative process, so like kind of take me through like what are you looking to do? Like, are you so some artists like to pick like the name of the thing first and work concept backwards, or are you kind of like take an image or take a concept that you like and kind of develop it from there? Like what's your kind of process?
It can go two different ways. Again, when you kind of have the phrase, it's like, ooh, I'm going to get to the sketchbook or the iPad and just kind of sketch something up quickly. Or the most recent one, seeing spots, just seeing different, nature photography of snow leopards, and kind of just thinking of like, how would I convert that to a graphic concept, and also the idea of playing with the negative space and just sort of blending into the cap base itself. It can just take one image, even, or a site in nature or something that you want to research further and then sketch up from there.
You have one of the, to me, designs of the year last year. So it actually took home an award. So Monday Morning Critz, the Clinkies, sports design of the year. Tell me about Triple Crown, because that to me, it has to be one of my top designs last year too.
Thank you very much. It started with a couple different concepts and ideas. I think in the write-up I mentioned Miguel Cabrera retiring, and he was the last, I think, American League Triple Crown winner.
Triple Crown, yep.
And then of course there's the phrase Triple Crown. I was thinking of playing cards, kings, and how to orient that, is how to lay that out. I was thinking of like a sort of classic 80s baseball card pose, like Canseco, the Big Oakleys or something. And then just did a couple concepts. Started with like a playing card, baseball card shape, vertical rectangle, which doesn't play always that great on a cap. And so I tried different profile views, and I was like, I'm going to put all three of these together, and kept refining from there. And then the end result came forward, I guess. But it's the feedback was amazing. I did not think it was to that point, and I'm so grateful that the feedback was positive. I can't wait for that to come to arrive. That's been, I think it's
highly
been pushed
anticipated.
But I've been peeking out the window the past few weeks, so looking forward to that.
That one's got so many like little Easter eggs. Like the more you look at it, like the little beard details and the pit vipers, the bubble gum, the batting gloves, the eye black, the base that kind of surrounds it. I just for sure one of my favorite designs of the year. I think you could even expand it, even like maybe like a Queen series, a Jack series, even like different numbers potentially.
That's great.
That's for sure something you can kind of go back and expand. But in terms of like the intersection between like fashion, art, and storytelling, like you're always gonna have to kind of play that line between what's practical, what sells, what's gonna do well in voting. Like how do you kind of weigh all of those factors when you're designing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Not every good design translates well to the embroidery all the time. I've learned definitely in some of my own designs, just maybe a thicker stroke, or just try to rely on the negative space or the shadow of something to kind of build that form. I also, personally, my preference, I usually wear black hats or solid color caps. I try to think about having more of the attention draw straight to the logo itself. I don't use too much color in the cap base itself, because I almost want that to be not necessarily on a blank canvas, but pop. Make it pop. But also, it doesn't have the greatest consideration of how it would, fit with fashion, or, building a fit around it. You just kind of say what works for this story and this design. And then, you roll with it, you throw it out there, and hopefully that, like I said, the community feedback is good and response is good.
What are some of the challenges that you can kind of that you see that you kind of have to work through and kind of overcome?
I think trying to maintain that dimension, I guess, trying to give that sense of depth and dimension on something that is a flat design. So experimenting with different I guess shadows and different methods of kind of bringing different parts of the design forward. So at the same time too, you want the design to read well at a small size. Of course, when you're up designing, it's huge on your screen. Really looking at it super small, either on your phone or something, because if someone's going to see you from across a room or a park or something, that it's not too busy, I guess. Even as if you're standing, normal distance from somebody, you want someone to be able to see those details. So you got to consider that, trim things out if they start to get too busy.
Yeah. Are there any specific tools or techniques you use to kind of work with your design? Like, are you a pencil guy first? Do you do things digitally? Like, what's your process though?
Yeah, I think thumbnail sketches, pen and paper. The Post-it note, I think, is a good approach. Yeah, I mean, again,
for the ideas,
just draw really small, and that kind of forces you. Like I said, getting those difficult details, try to weed those out early. Even say, hey, this reads on this little card here, and then getting that into. Like to kind of throw some color in there with iPad Pro, so I'll get take a picture, the iPad, and then quickly try to get some, clean up the shape, and then try to get some color, like rough coloring in there, and then once I get it to a place that's all that's sort of working at an instant read, get it to Photoshop for cleanup, vectorizing, and then the output comes out of Illustrator. But yeah, that's the kind of the phases. But sometimes you even got to take that final back to like a sketchbook phase. Like if it's like, okay, I've got it to here, but something's still not working. It's almost like take a screenshot, shrink it down really small, and do like a digital paint over, and be like, okay, yeah, some details aren't reading, so I'm gonna trim some things out, or completely remove something. So yeah, it's a process,
Yeah, for sure. For you, do you ever have I'm trying to look for this word, the proper word. Do you ever have they have an easy time picking favorites for you for some of the stuff you've done, or do any of them kind of stand out in your head?
Yeah, any favorites of my designs, you're saying?
Yeah. Your own.
I love all my children equally.
Yeah, that's the answer everyone wants to give, right?
I appreciate every single one, and I mean, I've got them right here. Let's see, the one you're wearing. Big fan. Again, the Triple Crown just came out. One of the submissions, it wasn't as popular, but the Shadow Hunter.
Oh, that one's gnarly, man. I love that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that in hand. That that was a little different approach, different concept. I think bird designs are pretty successful. There's a lot of potential there. So we'll see how that comes out. One I hope to see in a different colorway. One of the first ones is the House of Hades.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of the rundown. Yeah.
That was the first one you got through, right? That was your first. Was it the first? No, the one you're wearing is the first one, right?
Yeah, it's funny. They were both, I think, submitted and into this pre-order the same time. So yeah, House of Hades.
Oh wow.
I think I have that backwards. I think they were a week apart, but
okay.
Yeah, I was extremely lucky and fortunate to get both of those, in those first two shots, and then I kind of didn't get a couple through, but that's how it goes, just got to keep at it, and here we are. Yeah.
The thing I love about the House of Hades is there's so much dimension and detail to it. So you got like the the spirits kind of in the background, the flame of the outline, and then just the character is such like a strong, huge piece of it, and then it's got the real cool pattern underneath.
Yeah.
There's just so much to that design.
Yeah.
Really well thought out and really well kind of blocked.
So, oh, thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. So other than that one, are there any other ones that you would like to see re-rocked in other colors or just reimagined? And I know Parallel Dimensions got a second shot, but like, are there any other ones that you'd love to see kind of? Because like that's like the new thing now, like the fresh colorway drop or the shock drop. Like it's just interesting to see like different iterations of like already like really cool pieces.
I think it's great that you see more of those iterations, because I feel like the community every week, in crits or even on Fridays, they're just like, oh man, I wish it was to see it in this colorway, or and just sort of that sort of optimism of being like, this one got through on Friday, then maybe down the road we'll see a different, and you see a lot of them, ones that just recently dropped already have another colorway, and I mean that tells you a lot. So to answer the question, which ones, I mean, I don't know how the Dr. Clink and Mr. Kong, how we would rework that, but I'm very open to seeing different color variations of that one. This was also one of the one-up. I think my initial submission was like, kind of like a purple and, a hot pink and up around the stitching, but love how this came out. I think the gold and the blue came out really nice. Baseball cap. So this would be cool to see in different colors. Same thing. I think this, as there's, to baseball fans, baseball communities, if, sort of fit to the specific team colors, that would be.
Oh yeah. Team colors would be cool. I don't know how easy or hard it'd be to pass through legal, but like to me, I see that character, I think of like Tatis. So like even doing like their City Connect colors could potentially work. Like, so it's not like team color.
But yeah.
So
sort of team color adjacent, I guess.
Yeah. For sure. Do you have any favorite artists within the Clink Room that you kind of like follow and consider like kind of like must see TV, so to speak?
Yeah, just about everybody. Yeah, all the artists and all the work that comes through, is amazing. It's inspiring. I think they could all say the same thing. We all kind of communicate once in a while. We're always thumbs up and encouraging messages, great stuff. Can't wait to see that, or I just bought that one. That's awesome. Lifting each other up is a great thing. Let's see. I'm sorry if I butchered his name. Jacobo.
Oh yeah, Kobo. Yeah, Kobo.
I heard it once and I knew it was wrong, and
I think it's. I think actually now I think it's Jacobo. I think.
Okay.
Jacobo. Yeah.
Excellent work. Love Phil's work. Aurelian. I definitely don't intend to leave anybody out. Seriously, I could go through the whole list.
I'm putting you on the spot, so blame me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You leave one out. Yeah. Sierra Gons continues to crush it every week. There's Win Studio, all these guys, man. So it's just, it's like I said, it's fun to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. What kind of advice could you give to someone looking to break through? Like, so you're someone that from far it might seem like, hey, he's got a lot of designs in production or even delivered, but they don't really see the week-to-week grind of like putting full effort in and having it not make it, or being close, or having to rework. You're like, what kind of things could you tell some of the people who may think that they're struggling too?
That's a great question, because I think we've all been there. We've all had designs not make it through, and you're like, okay, literally, it's helpful to hear that at times. You're like, okay, what's not working here? Is it color? Is it shape? What, and I go back to the suggestion of sometimes just, does it have too much detail or not enough detail? Getting it back down to a super small size and looking at it, saying, does this read well, at this size? And if you're like, oh, I see what I can do. I can make, maybe the face and head a little bit bigger, or, just rely on some of the, like I said, the negative space or the light and shadow in a different area. It's like, there's many different things you could do, but I would, do that with my own designs, is trying to, try to get that immediate read working from the start, or in the rework process. So, but also, like all of us, just keep going, keep submitting. I think, sometimes it takes time, but after it for sure,
I definitely had a conversation, an off-air conversation with a clinker, and they were like nervous to do a certain character because of like, I guess the rights you give up as an artist to give it to Clink Room. But just because you give the rights up to that specific piece of art, it doesn't mean the whole character has to go. So we've seen people like 40 Swords kind of continue like a whole series. Like I'm thinking like the Shams, or even the Shogun, or the Ninja, and even if like they gave up that specific pose, he's still doing them in different poses and kind of keeping that series going, which is cool. Even something that's more adjacent, like Seamus with the money designs, and the different money designs. Like, you give up that specific design and that specific piece of art, but that doesn't mean you can't kind of build like a mini Clink world within. And thinking of Llama too, the Llama stuff like that. So I think that's one thing that can kind of help, because for you guys to like reset and do it over and over and over again, I think like that's one thing you can kind of do to get more mileage. Because like it goes into pre-order as a mock-up, a 3D mock-up, but sometimes people don't really see the vision or see how it's going to come up. Like, I mean, we've all been guilty of it. Like, you see something, you're like, it's going to do whatever, and then when the embroidery comes in, you're like, man, I really wish I got in on that.
I completely understand. It's funny because a lot of those like one color designs too. I mean, the design looks great, but then when you get it, you're like, oh my god, just one color, that the way it pops, dimension, just the layers. It's well thought out. It sort of speak to that too. Like continuing a series, or like if that's like again, 2 more artists you mentioned, I intend on mentioning too. Great stuff on. Contributing more of that series, that idea, is what makes it awesome. It's a Clink exclusive, and the more you build the world around that, and there's plenty of folks out there that are collecting and wearing the caps, are just like, keep it coming, So it's for the audience is there, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So
Do you ever struggle with finding different like subject matter? Because like right now it's got to be, it's over 1,000 styles for sure, or 1,000 designs. Like finding like new things to talk about, or even just like, because there is times where sometimes you see something and you're like, oh, it's a little close to whatever, but like no one, it's tough because like we're at the point, it's like, how long can someone hold the concept for? Like if someone did, let's say you did like a left-handed penguin playing basketball, like no one can do that ever again. Like it's tough, right? Like it's one of those things.
I hear, I think about that and I'm like, man, which ones, which hasn't been, or which one of these haven't been done yet? I think, I can equate that to like, you look at the different like primary, secondary, tertiary logos that major league teams have, or basketball teams, whatever. Like you said, they'll have like the current, they'll have the past, they'll have the the past / retro, and then just maybe the spin-off one or something. So sort of, even if different artists break off and do kind of their own version of something, that's like, if they did like an Odin Stars, that was Odin with a bat, someone's writing that down right now as we speak. That's cool. I wouldn't necessarily take issue to that. I think that's cool. I think that's why why the Clink exists, as long as it's sort of done in sort of the respectful way, mutually. I think there's space for it.
Yeah. I used to be on the side of like, oh man, like stuff should be sacred and whatever. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not like totally the other way now. Like, oh, you just take anyone's thing and rework it. But it gets really tough when there's just so many things now. Like we're in a spot now like that. Like we've seen it for, this is probably the third or fourth week in a row now where it's 15 designs. 15 designs make it to crits. So I can't even think about all the ones that didn't make it. And then out of those, you know, at max you could see 6, right? Hit pre-order. So it's like all these really, really good concepts not being utilized. And you know, there's other secondary companies you could potentially look at. But I mean, most people want to work with Clink so that they get that extra push. And Casey is a master at the
definitely
taking it and cleaning it up and execution and colors, and there's so much to it. So I don't know, like I feel like I'm loosening my stance on that a little bit as I go.
As we get to, like you said, over 1,000, it's totally fine, it's totally cool. I think, having the different colorways, having, sort of running with a similar concept, but a different, layout. I think that's all supported,
Yeah. So Clink is kind of known for their tight-knit community, the feedback you get. It's essentially like a live critique, and like stuff comes out, people are saying stuff. How much or little do you pay attention to like what other people have to say about your stuff?
Oh, I read everything. Yeah, no, it's there's encouragement and there's some like, that's not for me, and that's fine too. I don't take it too hard, but I also listen. If there are things that are just like, well, I don't like how we made this, definitely need to consider that, another perspective. So yeah, and like you said, generally it's very positive and encouraging, and the critique is not meant to be personal or discouraging like that either. But yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you so much for doing that. That's a cool kind of way to kind of get to know someone, is through these kind of questions, and yeah, I appreciate you doing that. So let's get into the festivities. So Clink had a Deadstock Drop that happened this week. So let me pull it up. So these will all ship right away. Not everything had full size runs, and some will sell out faster than others. So Tuesday they dropped Cursed Kings, Fugu, Conjurers, Samurai Kong, Ink, and Sneaker Tossing. I feel like this slide is wrong. Hold on a second. I may have started on the wrong slide. Yeah, I went way far back.
They're all great.
They're all great. They're all great. All right, here we are. On the right slide. All right, so these just went up for Deadstock. So we got Sharon, 90s hits, and Hammered. What do you think of these?
Beautiful. I love them, and they're all different. Different concepts. The what is the? It looks like the. I'm sorry. The first one on the dark blue.
Oh, Sharon. So that's like the. I think he's like the mythical character that brings you to the afterlife when you cross. Let me look it up. So, wow. Well, we kind of talk.
Right. I recognize the concept. Yeah, super cool. And same thing. Like, even though it has a lot of detail, it reads super well. The bone ship, the silhouette of the hooded character. It's just fantastic as a design itself, and then on the hat, it looks great. Love that it's this like one solid color dark hat for that point of brings the attention straight to that logo. Yeah, the 90s hits, again, another fantastic job, Sierra Gons. Yeah, tells a great story. Everybody, growing up in the 80s and 90s understands the winding the tape back. And it's just like, the story or the narrative saying, we're not ready for CDs, or get out of your CDs. Like, let's go back to the set. And then Hammered, it's phenomenal. Double entendre. The Hammered Hammer Shark, and very nicely rendered. The colors are nice too. That's a great like summer day drinking beer cap. Yes, I get my. Yeah, those are in right now, right? The Deadstock, or are we?
Yeah, these are all Deadstock. So
Mhm.
leftovers from the pre-order are up for purchase. So okay, so I think Sharon, that's the first Seamus the Skunk. So that's the first one he broke through
Right.
with. So basically, he's the entity that guides the souls to the final resting place. His
That's
judge
right.
isn't to judge or decide your worthiness, but to simply guide them. So basically, the practice of leaving coins on the deceased eyes near the mouth, on the eyes or the mouth, will provide payment for his service.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
you can those who can't pay to have to wander the banks of the river Styx for 100 years before they can
Yeah.
make the crossing. So
That's it right there, man.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
All great designs. They're all beautifully rendered. Yeah.
yeah, awesome. Like the '90s stuff really hits home for me. I mean, like now I can't believe stuff from my childhood now is considered retro, so it makes me feel super old. But you know, um, different time.
I
And
know.
yeah, and then yeah, the hammerhead hammered shark with the double fisting the beers, like that one's awesome too.
Yeah.
It's almost got like a Milwaukee Brewers style, like
It does,
almost kind
exactly.
of color. Yeah, yeah, awesome. All right, moving forward, we got Fuji by COD, uh, Ichigo Ichi by Flanagan, and Seeing Red. What are your thoughts on these?
Again, two more designers that I needed to add to that list of that I'm fans of.
Yeah,
Yeah, Todd and Flanagan, in addition to the Win Studio. Yeah, all amazing designs. The Fuji, the intricate details of that embroidery, everyone can appreciate that. That's, it's so well thought out, even again from the graphic side of thinking how that's going to, embroider. That's an art form in itself. Um,
yeah,
uh, and then again, as you alluded to, getting it into Casey's capable hands of, structuring that depth for the final result. And then, yeah, love Flanagan Studios work, always. And yeah, there's a great story, great motion to it, and then those colors look nice. I feel like the pinks and light blues on black just look really nice. Nice saturated color pop. And then Win Studio, another hit design. He tells the story, sort of running with the bulls concept, and him sort of being victorious of,
yeah,
or Matador.
yeah.
It looked
He
like
cut them
running the
off.
bulls, but yeah, just sort of draped in the red thing, like I beat the Matador. So there's a deeper story in all of them. But yeah, these are great.
Yeah, Fuji is almost like built like almost like a fingerprint. Like the it's like a single line, almost single thread, but it's still detailed. It doesn't break in any way. That's like a high level design. I don't
Mhm.
even know how you'd even start putting it together. You got the um kind of that seamless um pattern in the clouds that looks like
Mhm.
almost water, and then the waves. It's just so vibrant too. See, that's one of those ones you look and see the mock-up, and like, yeah, whatever. And then you see it executed, you're like, holy shit, I need that
Exactly.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Yeah.
think a lot of the all of the Clink final embroideries, that the more they come out in different strokes and intricate designs, to see the level of detail that the Clink is capable of making, makes it
Mhm.
easier, I think, even for folks when buying, to look at those designs, even like, as we said, a one color design, and being like, that'll embroider well. They'll do a good job
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did end up making like a desert style one, and that's the same kind of art style, which is cool to see him.
Right.
If he did do that, and then he'll just kind of expand, and that'll be awesome. But
As he
yeah,
should.
these are good ones. Seeing Red is so cool. He like took out the, yeah, like you said, like took out the Matador or whatever, just like a strong bull. And then Flanagan's always killing him, and he's always got solid work.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
all right, we got Mallard Lake, Beach Music, and Reaping Fortunes. What do you think of these?
Again, another solid lineup here. I love the mallard concept. I like seeing more of those with the environments built into the silhouette
Mhm.
of see that as a trend, and it's they're all very nice. And then I like the color. not typical. You see like that green with that red on like that blue, but it's like a blue sky again. That there's more depth to the concept there. Um, Again, the beach music concept, and you immediately get that with the notes and just sort of what looks like records / like sort of rainbow of sound going over an island. It's a nice, almost symmetrical design. It fits nicely, on the, again, using the canvas, meaning, how it's going to work on top of a hat. It's not like there's not too much going on. It's like, it reads well across the board. And then Win Studio stuff, I love. There's, I like when you can fit a full character into a cap. And so there's a good dynamic, I guess, motion going on with the character. Something nefarious is happening. Looking in that crystal ball.
Yeah,
they're nice. Again, that sort of in the light blue stroke. It's really pretty. For being such a grim concept, it's really pretty.
Yeah. These are really interesting. Yeah, like you said, Mallard Lake. It's like a cool subject matter. You would have never expected it to look that good on like a lavender, purple with red, and green, but it somehow it works, and it's got a lot of little. I think it's the duck or the mallard there in the bottom left on the water, so that's really interesting.
Nice. Inception duck within a duck.
Yeah, exactly. And then the dude designs, like I think he comes from like the t-shirt world, so he's got a lot of these things that kind of match up like real world t-shirts that he actually produced, which is a cool like kind of like a add-on that he can do. And like the kind of vibes is looks like a record too. Like that's kind of like a cool kind of design, and you see like the little notes and stuff. So that's one that, like, the more you look at it, the more stuff you find, which is always cool. And then for me, I love the Grim Reaper stuff. I know some of it, may seem repetitive with skulls and Grim Reapers and birds and stuff like that sometimes, but like, it's cool imagery to me. I think this one lacks a little bit from, like, maybe lacking just a little bit of like punch, maybe a little bit of contrast. It kind of gets a little monotone, but might have been something he was going for. So it's kind of cool too. So
that's right. I can
never go wrong. You can never go wrong with a Grim Reaper hat, to me.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we got Temple God, Capistrano, and Hidden Treasure. So the God series by COD and Sierra Gone too is another one of those things where they've kind of like taken a pose or taken a subject matter and kind of just played around. I think it was like Trash God, Picnic God, and this one's a Temple God. So what do you think? Do you have any initial thoughts on these three?
They're all beautifully done. Same thing. Again, I kind of lean more towards like the solid color cap. That's my personal preference. But each logo reads super well. The Temple got it. What you're saying about this is like one of many in the series. That's great. I think, again, just sort of outside thinking, as the Clink continues to kind of go forward and more designers, new designers, same designers, and just thousands more caps, like it's they're like chapters of the series. And
for sure.
Collecting, 5 years from now, they're like, oh man, you got that first edition, whichever one of that series. Like that's gonna be something special. Again, I love all of the bird designs. This came out beautifully. Nice symmetry. The feathers and the wings, sometimes it's always tricky to like make each one read well if it doesn't get too busy, and that just looks great with the yellow. The Hidden Treasure, that's great. Nice scrolled map. I also, I can appreciate, the instant read, from a distance, seeing that I'm like, oh, I can see that's a map, or I see that's a scrolled map. And then as you get closer, just like a lot of the sort of environment, like the mallard ones, the more details you can appreciate as you get closer to it. That's a fun aspect of this art form, and that's wonderfully done.
Yeah, he's got the hidden message too. So when it glows in the dark, it's got like the little tick marks. and it's got the X marks the spot on it in glow in the dark.
That's cool.
So like that's like a hidden hidden treasure, hidden message kind of thing. So like we've all seen like the, I mean, maybe not all, but like most people kind of around our age, grew up on the Goonies and stuff like that, and Indiana Jones, and it's cool. And J-Matt's Capistrano, I'm not familiar with this type of bird, but it equally as cool as one of the original standout designs for him was the red-winged blackbird. And you mentioned one of the things like symmetry, like he's just mastered that look, and it's just so cool. You don't have to know the bird, but it just looks cool, So I'm for it, and Temple God, Sierra, COD always do great work when paired together. So that one's cool. All right, Goated, Deadweight, and Tsunami Dragon. What are your thoughts here?
These are great. I like, as the term goated is more prevalent these days, it's like actually getting it into a logo concept and then getting that, onto a cap is amazing. It's that's one too that I think can be reproduced in many different colorways and it'll still look as fantastic as the original. Let's see, the Deadweight, love the concept. Excuse me. You see a lot of caps with like you said, skulls or zombies, and I think that there's room for more. There's going to be a lot more. We're not done with skulls and zombies. And again, I love the solid color and the aqua, color vibes, kind of that Seattle Mariners, feel to it a little bit. Maybe my screen color might be off a little bit, but nautical. Let's just say that.
It's almost Mariners meets Kraken almost.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a Seattle Deadweight.
Yeah.
Pick the sport. Yeah. Hey, they don't have an NBA team yet, right?
So, no, unfortunately.
There you go, Deadweight. Tsunami Dragon. This is fantastic. I love the motion. Love the shape of the dragon coming out of the wave. Definitely very powerful logo concept. And again, has a lot of detail, but it reads really well. Like it's not, not muddied by too much detail, and the color lends itself nicely to those shapes, bringing the shape of the dragon out too.
I think embroidered beautifully.
Yeah.
It's even like that, like Tsunami Dragon, a wave that's made out of a dragon. I think even back to last week's crits, like Ink Park had Killer Waves, which was a shark made out of a wave,
Right.
And two guys probably just had the thought independently, and we got two completely different concepts with two different animals, and I'm here for it. And Goated X-Ray, like that's like the Terminator version of the goat. He's all like hyper, and Deadweight's cool too, like you said. It's got that. To me, like I think of Kraken, and now that you've put the Mariners in my head too a little bit. Yeah, it's got that perfect nautical feel. That could easily come back in multiple colors. Yeah. Maybe a non-green skull with something else. Black, maybe orange or something. Like that could easily come back. But great work here. And then these. So that was your Deadstock Drop. So these are the last call. So the next 6 hats we'll cover. Their pre-order will end midnight tonight. So this is your last chance to get in on these. So the first 3 we're going to cover: Ring of Fire, Spring Bloom, and King Cool. What are your thoughts here?
All beautiful. And successful too. I've just seen in the tracker them kind of climbing to the top super quickly as soon as they in. Ring of Fire just is, has that symmetry. It's got the skull. Can't go wrong with like that black hat base. Again, really pops. The Spring Bloom. I see a lot more of the cherry blossom concepts. You see it everywhere now. You see it on like Nationals uniforms, and so this is nicely done too, especially on that gray. I think that's a nice, pink on gray layout or colorway. Excuse me. Again, love the sort of encapsulated environment concepts. This is great. The colors are really nice too. That orange and kind of like a teal. I'm sorry, is it orange?
Peach.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a salmon with like a peach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great colorway. Yep.
Yeah, that like the middle one. I love that colorway. I mean, Hat Club kind of made that popular with their Fuji collection, black gray with a pink under, but it just works well with anything. Kind of Japanese themed, or in here it's spring bloom and
right.
with the Sakura's potentially, but all great ones. And then Ring of Fire, I think it came out that week of the solar eclipse when everyone was talking about percentages and all that crazy science stuff. And hopefully we'll see one soon. Again, I don't know if I think it could have just did fine without the skull. I mean, the skull's kind of cool too. I'm cool that it's something that you won't see from far, and then as you get closer, you'll see it. So that's kind of interesting. But like a really rad eclipse hat would have been cool too. But I think these guys all did a great job here.
Can't wait to see the embroidery, the depth of those, like you said, the skull shaped, if that's more recessed or more, coming forward.
I would think that they would do it pushed forward, but who knows? It could be a recess thing where you have the blacks kind of stick out. That's the thing in case you never know. You just know that'll be good.
Yep.
Yeah. But these ones are awesome. All right. And then we got Dead in the Water. Kind of grim. Really grim. Rookie of the Year and Komote Lamas. What's your name? By Lane and Yakobo. What are your thoughts here?
All awesome designs. Again, even though the grim designs, they still look nice, they still look pretty, and I think lately a lot of his designs too that have been coming out, I think it's like his design or his style is so locked in. And it's almost like it's its own series, even if they're different concepts altogether. It's they're looking nice. Love the baseball card and the cap. It was one thing I was struggling to try to put together to that vertical rectangle on you've got all this horizontal space.
Hard, man. It's hard.
But it's fantastic because it makes me feel like I'm looking at a Chicago Cubs baseball card, like vintage, Kong rookie card, and again, that thing's going to embroider super nice. And then Komoteyamas, beautiful. Like the concept is hilarious. It's like, it just, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's straight like Looney Tunes concept humor that you gotta appreciate, and beautifully rendered as always. So I can't wait to see that embroidered out.
For sure. Yeah, like Rick, like you mentioned earlier, Rick Clifton, he's got like the less is more style right now, and like he's running wild with it. I think like the more he kind of packs in that character and like the less detail he uses, he's just doing real well with that style. So we'll see how far he can take it. I'm a big fan of his. And like the card, you mentioned it too, because there's so many like round surfaces on a hat, and you're just putting something that's super square and needs fine lines. They really took a risk with that, so it'll be interesting to see how that one kind of plays out with that old like 50s style Topps card. It's just, that one's cool. Like that would work real well as a pin or a sticker too.
I didn't want to get too far into it, but I would love to see patches at some point. But again, that's a different wing of the business. But some of these, you could imagine getting the patches and putting them on a hoodie or jersey or something.
Yeah, for sure. And then Lane and Yakobo, they did a great job. It's so cool. Like the cactus is like shaped like a llama too. And I think they did a great job. So those are your 6 hats going into production now. That's your last call warning. So midnight tonight, they will be sent off to go get produced. But the shock drop of the week. So Wizards work in the wacky collection by Kicker Jake. What do you think of this wizard type mushroom guy?
I love it. I love
to describe it.
You nailed it. That's it. Yeah. You know, I love character design. I love, you know, there's a story too of just, you know, who this character is, and it's kind of a wise old mushroom wizard. And the colors are nice. The greens wizard concept, I think that's a win-win right there.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of Donovan a little bit, with the face, Creaturezoid. So, Wizards work by Jake. Great shock drop this week. So they've been staying pretty steady. You know, like either doing a fresh colorway or a Deadstock every Tuesday, Monday for VIP, and then a shock drop some point during the week. So they're really giving you options. If you want to take a chance on a new one and are willing to wait for the pre-order, you can pre-order, and if not, Deadstock, or shock, and then now you got fresh colorways kind of work their way in. So, you know, a lot of options to buy, a lot of ways to lose your money, basically, or spend your money, not lose your money. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll get into the crits now. Again, another week of 15. I don't know if it's the standard. If you're asking me, I think it is become the new standard to be 15, because once they kind of bumped up to that number, they have not gone back. So we will only cover 10, and we'll leave 5 up to mystery. So you'll have to see those tomorrow. But the first 10 we'll cover are going to be right here. So 8 Bit the Dust by Clinker Matt Bells and Whistles. Did Matt Bell change his name? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Branding.
What are your thoughts here?
It's fantastic. I love the 8-bit concept as embroidery. You know, everybody knows. I mean, retro video game concept. You know, it's like it reminds me of something like from like Contra or something. There's like the Skull Island or I don't know. You know. So yeah, there's nostalgia built into that concept. It's really cool. Cool colors too.
Yeah, it's like that slime green under and kind of monochrome with the green, but yeah, it's still kind of back then there was no save file, so you had to beat the game in one shot. Yeah, just spent way too much time on that first level Contra in the past, but yeah, this is a great design for sure. Matt Bell. Interesting. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and efficiency. You learn how to be efficient on the stuff you've already done 200 times. But yeah, Matt Bell. All right, moving forward. Tropical Punch, Seamus, and not so original handle 416. Okay, Toronto person potentially. Tropical Punch. What do you think?
Nice. I love the colors. Same thing. That solid color cap helps make the logo pop. I think the colors are nice. It has that tropical punch, juice colors to it, and so that vibrance is nice. I like it.
Yeah. He's a guy that seems like he doesn't like to do any type of outline, and this is one I feel like needed some type of either like overall outline or some type of really like punch color. I think.
Sure.
Maybe the art's cool.
Yeah, it is. Maybe the boxing gloves. Maybe that front one could be a little bigger too, as like it's right now the same size. Maybe if one was coming forward a little bit, but I love the base head. Pineapple tiki concept is really cool.
Oh yeah. The kind of the totem tiki character as a pineapple is really rad. I just feel like the leaf maybe gets lost a little bit in the crown color. It's just lacking from a little bit of contrast. I know he probably that's not his like wheel bag to do like the overall big outline around it, but
sure.
I don't know. I can't tell if it needs it or not. I just feel like
some separation. Yeah.
I almost feel like it's like 3 pieces or 3 elements just put together where it's kind of not flowing together properly. Like the leaves feel so different than the base, and that feels different than the arms. So I don't know. Maybe some type of something needs to happen for him to make him feel more kind of
right.
I don't know. More symmetry, maybe, or more flow together, I guess.
Yeah, continuity.
Yeah. But the concept's real cool. Tropical Punch, the color really works. It's like that Del Monte fruit punch color juice box kind of thing. I like it. It's right there. I just feel like it's missing a little bit of flow. That's all. But
Cool.
all right, moving forward. No problema. Heather and Creaturezoid got together.
Great.
What are your thoughts here?
More llama concepts. Keep them coming, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is great. It's rendered very nicely. Again, tells that story, just chilling, no problema. It's pretty great. Again, another sort of side note to all the Clink hats, when people, where'd you get that hat? Or you can tell them there's a story behind each concept too. So it's conversation pieces too.
This is definitely a conversation piece. Someone's gonna stop you, like, "Hey, where the hell did you get this, and where do I get one?" But yeah, I think they nailed the colorway. It's kind of like the Vegas gold, chrome, stone kind of color area with the brown and the kind of that mint, almost like a mint chocolate chip style colorway that kind of really works well together. Got the llama almost looking like a Joe Cool camel. Yeah, I'm here for it, man. This one's rad.
Right.
All right. Then we got Time's Up. So this one had the format a little bit different, just to kind of show how the glow in the dark works. So it looks like we got like a skull in his the timepiece there, and then the outline and the stars as well as his face look like they glow in the dark too. So what are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's great. I think it definitely fits the Clink Room vibe too. Just like the cap with the, isn't just like the fairy tale bunny that's like time's up, or it's like a little more like, yo, we got to get going here. Let's go. So I like the edge to it. It's nice, and then of course the glow in dark feature is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. He's got like that old Paperboy Peaky Blinder style hat and style. And you got that little hidden message too within the timepiece. Yeah, this one's cool for sure. All right, Emerald Snakes by Milos. He really worked hard to kind of show that texture and in the snake to kind of show the emerald side of it. But what are your thoughts on this one?
The logo is awesome. I love that. I understand that, similar, like some of my own personal work, trying to capture that like diamond, like light refraction element, especially in a graphic form, is so difficult. So the logo is like flawless in that sense. I would love a different crown color so that those greens really like pop, either like a really dark green, black, a charcoal even. That's just my take, my feel, but like I said, overall I think it's a great design.
Yeah, he does real well with the kind of what you talked about, like just having the different greens within it to kind of capture that refraction, different light sources and everything. Yeah, this one's cool for sure. Great job, Milos. All right, number 6, Blue Pepper by Ink Park. So Ink Park's been kind of back to submitting semi-regularly, so that's kind of cool to see him back. What are your thoughts on this one?
That's great. It's this is not meant to be a knock. It's a simplified design, but it's tells a great story. Yeah, I mean, I like this concept. It has that like retro cartoon look to it, and again, same thing. He's a bit more nefarious. He's like the Ghost Peppers are, of course. So he gets it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a either like a Pac-Man or like an old Mario character kind of. But it's also a Ghost Pepper, so that's kind of like a double play on words. So yeah, he did a great job on this one. I don't know if I love the fire as is. Maybe I would just change it a little bit, but other than that, I think this one's a rad design. This would embroider really good too, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, the Crusader by 14.8. What are your thoughts on this?
Cool design. I think the design is done really well. I think there's room to increase the thickness of the black stroke in the outer. I'd love to see that kind of a bit thicker, just to kind of give it a little bit more weight. I don't know if you need the white stroke so much. If you did like a, again, my personal take, the lightning could be a little bit more zappy in different areas, but like I like the concept, I like where it's going, could go through a little refinement, but it's there.
Yeah, he's also got like the cross, almost the little cross on the forehead area. I think that might be like a cross pencil kind of Clink kind of Easter egg
Nice.
there.
That's cool.
He's almost got the Doctor Strange cloak with the Magneto head almost. It's interesting. I don't know if the name kind of suits the subject matter, but just judging by the art, it's an interesting piece with the lightning eyes, and I don't know, just like a badass character.
It's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Great work, 14.8. All right. Now we're getting into Yakobo's work, so Papo and Itza. Hopefully, this is a signal that some of the different Mesoamerican and Native American stuff is finally making its way through legal. If they're thinking it's safe enough to put this into crits, so hopefully that's good news for the people waiting on those pre-orders. But what are your thoughts on Yakobo's work here?
Again, he slam dunk every time out. I love, culturally brings that to his designs to share, is like, I know a thing about this, and there's a great story behind there, and just the shape, again, encapsulating that in the mountain shape, and another concept that'll embroider well, but has a great story too.
Yeah. I don't know if I love the sun kind of in that position. It kind of feels a little bit random. I'd either get rid of it or put it a little bit higher. Other than that, I can't argue with anything. Like the art is done real well. The color's real different. It's rust with like a Tempest turquoise kind of color, aqua almost, with like a Panama brown under. But yeah, I think it's solid. The only thing I would kind of nitpick really would be like the sun, and maybe make it a gray bottom instead of that like kind of Panama tan he's got it. But other than that, this is a smooth one.
Yeah, I would be curious too to see it on like that green back as well. So some of those warmer things, like you said, the sun, or just the under gold of the clouds, getting some more visibility. Yeah, but you could say that about a lot of different things too.
Yeah, give it just a little bit more contrast, right?
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see it blocked out at the least, right? But yeah, he's got some like metallic gold potentially there, and maybe some copper. But yeah, rad design for sure, Yakobo. All right, number 9, Inferno Heat. We put this up against that Boo Pepper one that Ink Park did. So this is more of like a Ghost Rider jalapeno chili thing here. So what are your thoughts on this one?
It's cool. It's funny. I think again, there's room for different looks for kind of the same concept, the hot pepper thing. So it works. Let's see. I think we lose a little bit of almost would like maybe a black outline to separate the two peppers a little bit, or something to kind of give that kind of crossbones separation. But it's there. Like I said, good color choice. I like it on the solid black. I can see that all those colors really jump really nicely.
How would you feel about potentially moving the flame in front of the peppers? Would you lose too much of the, like, would it be hard to kind of translate or show that they are peppers?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it could. Even moving it up a little bit. So, like I said, true skull and crossbones. You kind of give the skull like kind of its own space. So sort of maybe the bottom of the flame you see. So it's almost like it's hovering above the pepper bones, quote unquote.
Yeah. But it's an interesting new take on like a normal image that we're used to seeing.
Right.
For sure. Infernal Heat.
Right, I love different takes on the crossbones concept.
Yeah. I mean, that's such an easy thing to kind of work. It's just that you're so used to seeing it blocked that way and just sub out the stuff. Like, you see it done real well. So, great job, Sierra. All right, and last but not least, Yakobo and Sierra are back. We saw them individually, and now they're back here together. So, this is like that. I believe it's called an anglerfish. That's the one that has the little bait at the front, and this time it's like in a baseball. So, what are your thoughts here?
This is great. You could see this on any minor league baseball team in the country. Hands down, it's hit the mark there for sure. Yeah, I think this will do real well, you know.
Yeah, so those things are so freaking ugly in real life, but they gave it more of like an almost piranha alien almost thing.
Yeah,
with the front light too. It's just really interesting. Taking a different type of take than we've seen the normal anglerfish kind of go. So at least they changed the perspective and the angle and everything. But yeah, definitely a cool design by these two heavy hitters. But yeah, that kind of wraps up our coverage. I really appreciate you, Leif, taking the time to spend with me on a Friday. You know, it took a little bit of movement between us to to get the right time, but you know, nonetheless, I'm really happy that we got to do this.
Likewise, yeah, and I appreciate you having me. And that's I'm blessed to be a part of, you know, the Clink community as well, and you know, looking forward to contribute some more stuff hopefully soon. So.
For sure. Before we head off, where can people find you and get connected to being able to see your work?
Right now, most of my stuff is on Instagram. Ekelund Art is the handle. You know, still working on my website, and I'm also going to brush up my ArtStation. And when that's ready, I'll probably link it on Instagram as well, so folks can go there.
Nice. All right. So I'm going to put a link to your Instagram in the comments of in the description of the video and kind of on the screen so people can kind of see that. But yeah, again, I appreciate your time and really glad that we kind of got to connect on this platform. So until next time, Leon and Leif, we're out of here.
Thank
Peace.
Brought to you by VFTV.